title. The night she asked for forgiveness. It was past midnight in Los Angeles, the kind of night when the city feels strangely hollow. The bright lights of Sunset Boulevard flickered in the distance. But here, near the edge of the Pacific Coast Highway, everything was quiet. Only the waves crashing against the dark rocks broke the stillness. Daniel Miller gripped the steering wheel of his silver Mercedes, his reflection caught in the windshield. He looked like a man who had everything: success, wealth, and power. But his eyes told a different story. There was exhaustion behind them, the kind that doesn't come from sleepless nights, but from sleepless years. He had just left a tense dinner meeting. Investors, champagne, fake laughter. Everyone around him had been smiling, but Daniel's mind had been somewhere else entirely. He drove faster, letting the wind whip through the open window. His expensive cologne mixed with the salty air. The road curved sharply near Malibu's cliffs. And that's when he saw her. A woman sitting on the sidewalk, barefoot, wrapped in a thin gray blanket. Her hair was tangled, her face streaked with tears, and her hands were trembling. She wasn't begging. She wasn't even looking around. She was just sitting, staring blankly at the dark ocean, as if waiting for it to swallow her whole. Something inside Daniel froze. He slowed down, pulled over, and turned off the engine. For a moment, he just sat there, unsure why he cared. But something in her posture, something in her broken stillness, made him step out. "Hey, are you okay?" he asked, his voice hesitant. The woman didn't respond. Her lips quivered. Her eyes darted toward him, and then back to the sea. Daniel crouched a little, keeping his distance. "It's freezing. You can't stay out here like this." She laughed softly, but it wasn't the laugh of someone amused. It was the sound of someone who'd forgotten how to feel. "I've been colder," she whispered. He noticed her accent. Local, soft, but worn down. "You live around here?" She shook her head slowly. "I used to. Not anymore." Daniel exhaled. "Do you have anywhere to go tonight?" Her gaze shifted to him for the first time. Her eyes, tired, hollow, but piercing, met his. "Does it matter?" she murmured. "I don't deserve to go anywhere." Daniel hesitated. "Why would you say that?" "Because some people don't get second chances," she said. Her voice broke mid-sentence, and a tear rolled down her cheek. "And I used mine a long time ago." Her words hit him like a gust of cold wind. There was something hauntingly final in the way she said it. "What's your name?" he asked quietly. She hesitated. Susan Bennett." Daniel offered a hand. "I'm Daniel. Look, there's a diner down the road. It's open all night. Let's just get you a coffee, all right?" Susan stared at his hand, unsure. Finally, she took it, slowly, as if touching kindness for the first time in years. Inside the diner, the smell of coffee and buttered pancakes filled the air. The waitress gave them a quick look. A well-dressed man and a woman who looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. But she didn't ask questions. She'd seen worse. They sat by the window. The neon light outside flickered open 24 hours. Daniel sipped his coffee and watched Susan stir hers mechanically. "You don't have to tell me anything," he said gently. "But if you want to talk, I'll listen." Susan stared at the cup for a long time. Then, with a voice that trembled like a confession, she said, "I used to have a life most people would envy. A big house in Glendale, 2 beautiful kids, Lily and Jacob, and a husband who loved me more than I deserved." Daniel listened quietly. "We weren't rich, but we were happy. My husband, Aaron, owned a small construction company. He worked hard, loved his kids, and trusted me completely. Maybe too much. She laughed bitterly. I thought I was smarter than him. I wanted more. Fancier things, a better house, a different life. Her fingers gripped the cup tighter. When his business started to struggle, I panicked. We had debts, investors breathing down his neck. And one night, I did something unforgivable. Daniel's voice softened. What did you do? She looked at him, her eyes glistening. I drained his business account. Every last cent. I thought I could invest it, double it, and save us all. But it was stupid, a scam. Within days, the money was gone, and so was the life we had built. She paused, wiping her eyes. When Aaron found out, he didn't yell. He just looked at me. That silence hurt more than anything. Then he said, "You broke something that can't be fixed." He kicked me out that night, told the kids I'd chosen money over them. Daniel's throat tightened. And you never saw them again? Susan shook her head. It's been 5 years. I live just a few miles from here, but I might as well be invisible. I see Lily sometimes, from across the street when she walks to school, but she doesn't know I'm there. The diner fell silent. The soft hum of a jukebox played an old Sinatra tune in the background. Daniel leaned forward. Susan, you made a mistake, a terrible one, but running from it doesn't make it right. Maybe it's time you face them. Her lips trembled. You think they'd want to see me after everything? He nodded slowly. If it were me, I'd want to know my mother tried. Her eyes filled with tears again. You sound like someone who's lost someone too. Daniel's jaw tightened. He looked away. Yeah, he said softly. My wife. 2 years ago. Car accident. I was supposed to pick her up that night, but I stayed late at work. That's something I'll never forgive myself for. The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was heavy. Two broken souls sitting across from each other, realizing pain has many faces. After a long pause, Daniel said, I can help you. I know people who can find your husband and kids, help you reach out. Susan hesitated. I don't want pity. It's not pity, Daniel said firmly. It's a chance. You deserve one. That night, Daniel got her a small motel room in Santa Monica. Before leaving, he placed a business card on the nightstand. Call me in the morning, he said. We'll figure this out. Susan stared at the card long after he left. For the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't felt before. Hope. The next morning, sunlight spilled through the blinds. Susan sat by the window, watching the traffic below. She hadn't slept much. Her mind was racing. Memories of her children's laughter, Aaron's eyes, the day she walked away. She finally picked up the phone and called Daniel. I'm ready, she said simply. By noon, Daniel had tracked down Aaron's address. He ran a property firm in Pasadena now, still living in the same old house. When Daniel called, Aaron's voice was sharp and guarded. I don't know who you are, Aaron said. But if this is about Susan, tell her to stay away. She's done enough damage. Daniel took a breath. She doesn't want money. She just wants forgiveness, or at least the chance to apologize. Aaron laughed bitterly. Forgiveness? She destroyed our family. And then silence. Tell her, Aaron said coldly. Some things don't deserve closure. When Daniel told Susan, she closed her eyes and whispered, I understand. But her trembling hands betrayed her. That evening, Daniel found her outside her old home. She stood on the opposite sidewalk, watching through the fence. 2 kids were playing basketball in the driveway, Lily and Jacob. She pressed a hand to her mouth, tears streaming down. They've grown so much. Jacob shot the ball, missed, and laughed. Susan smiled faintly through her tears. He still laughs like his dad. Just then, Lily turned and caught sight of her. Their eyes met. For a moment, The world stopped. Lily froze. Her hand tightened on the basketball. "Mom?" she whispered under her breath. Susan stepped forward slowly. "It's me, baby." Lily's expression hardened. "Dad said you left us, that you didn't care." Susan's voice cracked. "He's wrong. I cared too much. I just didn't know how to show it." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes. Anger, confusion, love, all tangled together. "Go away," she said finally, her voice trembling. "Please, just go." Susan took a step back, her heart breaking all over again. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I just wanted to see you one more time." That night, she sat by the beach, staring at the endless waves. Daniel joined her, silent for a while before saying, "She saw you. That's a start." Susan shook her head. "No, it's the end." Daniel turned to her. "You're wrong. Sometimes the hardest stories don't end in one chapter." Days passed, then weeks, and one morning, Daniel received a call. It was Erin. "I read the letter," Erin said quietly. "She really wrote that?" Daniel nodded. "Every word." Erin sighed. "She ruined everything. But maybe I've been punishing the kids more than her. Tell her to come by tomorrow evening. We'll talk." When Susan heard the words, she collapsed into tears. "He'll see me?" The next evening, Daniel drove her to the old house. She was shaking the whole way. "What if he still hates me?" "Then you'll still have done the bravest thing you've ever done," Daniel said. The house looked the same, the blue shutters, the jasmine plant by the door. Erin opened it slowly, his face older, tired, but still familiar. For a long moment, no one spoke. Finally, Erin said, "You look different." "I've been different," Susan whispered, "every day since I lost you." Lily and Jacob stood behind him, uncertain. Erin's voice softened, but there was pain in it. "Why should I believe you've changed?" Susan stepped closer. "Because I finally understand what love costs, and I'll spend the rest of my life paying for it." For a long, aching moment, Erin said nothing. Then quietly, he stepped aside. "Come in." Inside, the silence was thick, but it wasn't angry, it was healing. They talked for hours, about the past, the pain, the mistakes. Susan cried more than she spoke. Erin listened more than he argued. Forgiveness didn't happen that night. But something shifted. A door opened where there had once been only walls. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, Susan rebuilt her life. She found work at a small cafe near Santa Monica Pier, volunteered at a shelter, and began spending weekends with her kids. One evening, she came home to find Erin waiting. He held an old photograph, their family from years ago. "Do you remember this day?" he asked. Susan smiled faintly. "It was Lily's 5th birthday." Erin nodded. "You know, she told me something today. She said, 'Mom doesn't look sad anymore.'" Susan's eyes filled. "That's because I finally feel alive again." Erin hesitated. Then quietly he said, "Maybe it's time we stopped surviving apart." He took her hand. For the first time in years, Susan felt warmth flood her heart, not the kind that burns, but the kind that heals. Months later, Daniel visited them. The house was full of laughter. Lily playing the piano, Jacob chasing their dog, Erin setting the table. Susan greeted him at the door, her eyes shining. "We made it, Daniel." He smiled. "No, you did." As the evening sun dipped behind the palm trees, Susan looked at her family, imperfect, scarred, but whole again, and whispered, "Maybe forgiveness isn't about forgetting the past. It's about believing we can still build a future." Conclusion: life doesn't always give us second chances, but when it does, we have to be brave enough to take them. Forgiveness isn't a gift we give others. It's the freedom we give ourselves. And no matter how far you've fallen, redemption is always just one honest step away. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because somewhere out there, someone might need to hear that it's never too late to begin again.